Hello children, this is Manik Shah once again going to talk to you about the various implications of the First World War which helped the growth of nationalism movement in Indian society. So in today's video's lectures, dear children, what are the certain factors or how the First World War which helped in the growth of the national movement in India. So dear children, the First World War that was started in 1914 and it was ended in 1918. And we understand that the First World War was held between the Allied powers as well as the Axis powers. So here the Allied powers who got the victory, and in Allied power we understand that there were certain countries like Great Britain, United Kingdoms, United States, China, etc. etc. In Axis powers we see the Germany, the Japan as well as the Turkey. So it was a great war which really changed the political situations as well as the economic situations of the nations. That is why the First World War is caused one of the greatest war in the world history, because in the First World War we see lot of devastations which happened in many countries. Economically as well as politically, it created great impact in the nations. So dear children, here we see the involvement of the Great Britain, and the Great Britain who had actively participated in the war, having great losses economically as well as financially. They were having great losses in the society. So this Great Britain who were engaging in this First World War in order to show its power, and we see that the Great Britain, it was having huge increase in defense expenditure, and in those times most of the countries, they were engaging in war in order to show their mighty power or in order to prove their ability. Many of the countries were engaging in war, and we see the Great Britain who is having the war loans, and after having the war loans they are engaging in the war. So mostly in war the outcome is nothing, simply the country has to prove their ability as well as their mighty power. Those countries were engaging in this war during the time of kings as well as during the time of monarchy. So dear children, here since we see the Great Britain who had been engaged in this First World War, so being the colonial government, they thought that during these periods if they would come to India, then India would support them and India will help them to recover all the war expenditure or all the war loans that has caused great devastations during the time of First World War. So dear children, with the strong determinations they came to India, and they thought that the colonial nations will help them to recover all these losses which had happened during the First World War. And when they came to India, so what they did was they increased the taxes, they increased the custom duties as well as they increased the income tax in order to recover all the war expenditures which had happened in the First World War. And when they came to India, this Great Britain, they were thinking that India would support them and will help them to recover all the losses which had happened during the First World War. But these Great Britain, they were not knowing that what was the situations which was happening in India, because during those periods, especially 1930 to 1913 to 1918, it was a period of great economic depressions that was seen in Indian society, because in those times we see that India was also going through a very hard situations in which millions and millions of people who died in the epidemic. So during such situations, the Britishers coming to India, increasing the taxes, increasing the custom duties, introducing the income taxes, so that they will recover all the losses that had happened during the events of First World War. So, dear children, during this hard time, the British peoples, they came to India and they thought that whatever losses they had in World War One, they will recover it in Indian society, and with those kind of mentality, they came to India and they introduced the income tax, the custom duties, so that they will have all restorations during the period of First World War. So dear children, here we understood the real face of the British peoples. They came to India, they introduced the taxes, they introduced the income taxes, they introduced the custom duties, and they thought that whatever war loan they have taken during the First World War, they will able to recover in Indian society, because Indian society is a colonial country. So being the colonial country, all war expenses, all war expenditures or losses will be having restorations in Indian society. With such mentality, they are coming to India, introducing the taxes, increasing the taxes, increasing the custom duties, and they are trying to recover the war loan expenditures which had happened in First World War. And during that time, dear children, the British peoples were not at all having any kind of ideas what was going through the Indian society. What the India was going through, they were not aware it. Why? Because they were very busy in supplying all the war material, and they were supplying the soldiers to the First World War. So they were very busy in war. That is why they were not having any kind of ideas that what was going on in Indian society. And we see that during those periods, the periods of 1914 to 1918, it was a very hard time for the Indian society. And in those times, as soon as they came to India, they increased the taxes and the price rate became very double. And it was really the extreme hardship for the common peoples. Why? Because the common peoples were not able to find their livelihood. They were not able to have their livelihood because it was a period of extreme hardship for the common peoples. They were having a very great crisis economically. They were going through a very hard time, and during that time they are coming and they are trying to increasing the price rate, increasing the taxes, increasing the custom duties, and that made the Indian societies to have really very hardships. So that made the peoples to have real struggles in life. So here, not only that, they went to villages, they called upon the villages peoples, and forcefully they were recruiting peoples in the soldiers, sending the Indian peoples to the First World War, and that really caused widespread anger among the Indian society. And not only that, in between the period of 1918 to 1921, dear children, we see that it was a period of crops failure, and when the crops failure was having continuously, it is resulting the shortage of food. And when the shortage of food is found in the society, during that time we see further it is carried by influenza epidemic. And when the influenza epidemic was there in the society, we see that again it causes the real hardship for the peoples of the common peoples, because those common peoples were not able to find their livelihood. They were not able to afford these food grains which was available during those periods. And according to the census of 1921, we see that nearly 12 to 13 million people who had died due to epidemic. And during those periods, the Britishers are coming to India and they are developing the oppressive ideas. And according to their oppressive ideas, they thought that all the losses will be having restorations in Indian society. But during those periods, the Indian society was having really hard time. Already I have explained to you that the price rate became double, the custom duties were increased, the income taxes were increased. Apart from that, we see the shortage of food due to crops failure. We see the epidemic disease which resulted the great crisis in the society, and due to this epidemic nearly 12 to 13 million people they died in this epidemic. So we see the oppressive natures of the Britisher. So dear children, because of this oppressive nature here, being the colonial government, they should understand the difficulties of the peoples, that what the peoples are going through. Being the government of the society, their duties and responsibilities to understand the situations of the society. They did not understand the situations of the society. Instead, they forcefully try to collect the taxes which they were having great expenditures during the time of First World War. So dear children, being the government, their duties and responsibility is to understand the difficulties. They should give support to the peoples. They should give different kind of policy, as well as they should give their support to the peoples during this hardship. But instead of that, they became very oppressive. They were having the oppressive ideology, and because of those oppressive ideologies, it caused widespread anger among the Indian society. See, what they were doing was they were going to villages, forcefully catching the peoples, and they were forcefully recruiting them in soldiers. And when they were doing such kind of activities, that was really causing great anger among the Indian society. Due to this oppressive ideas, dear children, we understood that the peoples of Indian society, they were needing a great leader who will support them, who will help them to develop the ideas of nationalism movements, to develop the ideas of national awakening movements, because they are not at all happy with the colonial rule, because during the colonial rule there is oppressive ideas. So they wanted to have a leader who will guide them and who will support them. So my dear children, due to all this factor, we understood that the First World War, it really helped the Indian society to develop the nationalism movements. How? Already I have told you that during the First World War, the Britain was having great losses. In order to recover the losses, as well as to have the restorations process, they came to India, forcefully recruiting the peoples, forcefully increasing the taxes, forcefully they are introducing the custom duties. And when they are doing such kind of activities during that period, the Indian society was having a real hardships, and they were not able to cope up with the situations. And during that time, when they seen the oppressive ideas of the British, they started developing the nationalism movement in Indian society. So my dear little children, as I have told you that due to all this factor, it resulted for the development of national awakening movement in Indian society. Thank you so much for listening to me.